Hello and welcome back to the stream. We are here with you for our second day of Overwatch this week. That's right, it's a Thursday. We had Overwatch on Tuesday, and we're back. I'm your play-by-play, Wyatt, aka Libby Baby.
I am Spooky Hand, also known as Turner. I will be your color for the night. And welcome in, everybody. Of course, doing very good, doing very nice on this Thursday evening. I know our Overwatch team is primed and ready, and they're having a nice evening as well as they get ready to smash, to destroy, to obliterate the competition, to secure another victory for Ball State. I'm very excited. I don't know about you, but I am very, very excited.
I am very excited. Currently, Ball State, the only undefeated team in the ESC after their victory on NIU on Tuesday. Now, NIU was formerly the second undefeated team. Not anymore. They are now 5-1. We are 6-0. However, we did lose our first map of the season on Tuesday. Still undefeated. We went down a point.
Yeah. I mean, you take what you can get, and right now Ball State is taking nothing but dubs.
Dubs.
Dubs in the chat. But we do have the rosters. We have rosters for both Ball State and NIU, our opponent for tonight. But yeah, I do believe we have a graphic we can throw to that very shortly. In the meantime, nope, there it is. Oh, we're doing tonight's matches first. Apologies. So we have Ball State versus NIU. I really need to learn logos.
I don't. It's every time.
I think.
Is it EMU?
I don't. It might be Eastern.
Like Eastern Michigan?
Like, yeah, something.
Versus Toledo.
Versus Toledo. Ohio versus Miami Esports. I believe that is Northwestern?
That's. I think that is NEU. I think that's WMU.
WMU. Okay.
WMU.
They have a bye week. Akron versus Kent State.
CMU. I know.
Okay, CMU versus U Buffalo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
Bowling Green versus
U Toledo.
That's U Toledo.
Oh yeah, that's U Toledo. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
We're so bad.
We're bad at logos.
Logos.
If they just put their name in the logo, that'd be so easy. I mean, we don't do that, but I mean,
look how identifiable.
Yeah, identifiable Ball State. I mean, we're top of our game, and then we have a logo that just represents it. We got the Ball State Cardinals. But yeah, very good matches tonight. Obviously, somebody's got to have a bye week. A few weeks ago, that was Ball State, but keeping it rolling until the end of the season. We're getting very close. We're very, very, very nearing the end of the season. It's a bit shorter than usual, but we're going to push it out. We're going to give you all of the content, all of the Twitch streams, the YouTube streams, everything we can to bring to the table to keep you guys invested in what is going on in Ball State Esports. But yeah, now that we are over with that, now we have the rosters. So I believe we'll start with the Ball State roster, of course, starting with Ghost, going into Droid, then Otta, the coach, Raven Strider, Yakester, Spencer, Bordy1, and Alphabet. We've got a wonderful crew. Some of them, of course, are our subs. Others are starting. And a few of them are playing, obviously, their normal roles. Bordy, our, I believe, Flex DPS.
Flex DPS,
yeah.
Yes.
And then we have Droid on tank, like usual. Otta is the coach. I think the other DPS is
Ghost.
Ghost
Ghost is our main DPS.
Yeah.
Yakester will be our main support, and then Spencer and Alphabet trade on flex support. Sometimes you'll see go dual flex support with Spencer and Alphabet, or you'll see more commonly Yakester and Spencer.
I love Yakester for the sole reason that he plays Lucio.
Yep, I don't think I've ever seen him switch off Lucio.
But yeah, we also have the NIU roster as well. We've got a little bit of a graphic for that too. Probably not as, yep, there we go. We've got interesting names here. We've got Allegro7, Jillian Christian, PK0, Flip Flop Hello. I love that name. Austy125, Plazimoto, Tetegri or Tater Genry.
Tater.
I'm so
no
sorry.
Idea how
I
to
am
pronounce
so
that.
sorry. Tater Genry, or something close to that, or I forgot. So
whoa.
What was his name?
I forgot. Oh.
Huh?
He forgot.
What was his name?
He forgot.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna have to talk to Lucas for stealing that little I branding before the name. Lucas is I Lucky.
But yeah, we've got also a little bit of recaps. I'll throw that to you to go over the recaps. I know you've got the tiny little notebook with all the notes, so you can go ahead and get into that.
So our Rocket League Red team, this is all ESC, ECAC, by the way. Rocket League Red roster won 4-3 against Columbia College, and then we go to Valorant Red roster won 2-0 against the University of Kentucky. So that's ECAC. We've done a few streams of that this semester. We have a Valorant ECAC stream coming up soon.
That will be. We have.
Not soon. Soon might be.
Well, it is soon.
Oh,
it is. Yeah, next week. Next Tuesday. It is replacing our usual Overwatch stream, so we're going to go ahead and do Valorant instead for that week, just on Tuesday. I don't believe it's a dual week as well, so nothing Thursday, but we'll have League of Legends on Wednesday and Saturday, of course. I don't think we'll have anything the following Saturday. We'll have something this Saturday, but the following Saturday is spring break.
Yes.
I don't believe we're going to be here to stream that, but everybody here can get home, get some rest, get recuperated before finals season. It's already kind of getting close, and I'm worried. But
why?
yeah,
why?
I don't know. The spring always goes so much faster. I swear.
It's like we're already on week.
Well, the fall has so many breaks, and yet it feels so much slower than the spring.
I know.
It's incredible. I have no idea how it works. But new Overwatch perks. We've got a brand new Overwatch update. They're not going into effect yet. I believe, don't quote me, but the way Overwatch usually works, when they go into competitive settings, there is a 2-week ban phase before they take place. However, there are not too many streams left for Ball State, so I'm thinking we're only going to get, if I had to guess, maybe one game or one stream with the new perks. I could be wrong, but the season is coming to a very, very short close, so we'll have to go ahead and see what happens. But we can talk about the new perks a little bit. Do we want to? What do we want to focus on? Do we want to focus on the tanks, the supports, or the DPS?
I mean, it doesn't matter to me, really. I don't know all of the perks off the top of my head, because one thing that I would like to do is there's so many of them. Every single...
I know a good chunk of them, I think.
I haven't taken the time. I haven't played the new update yet.
Next stream, I'm gonna print... We got a very nice folder from our head video director, Trinity. And I was supposed to... I said in my head I'm going to print out all of that and bring it to the stream so we could have them in front of us and go over them. But we're going to have to go off memory for today.
I was originally, I thought perks were going to be implemented today, so I had my iPad here with that pulled up, but I put it away.
Yeah.
So I just know that there's a ton of them because basically how it works is you get your character to the next level and you can pick between one or another one. You get another one where you can pick between another two. So there's 4 in total, but you only get 2.
There's 4 perks total. It's split 2-2. You get 2 minor, 2 major. When you level up to level 1, I believe, you get your first minor perk. And that ranges between the characters. And then you have, I believe at level 3 or level 2. It's one of the two. But there is a level where you don't get nothing.
Yeah.
And then it's either level 3 or level 2. You get one of your major perks. And you can only have one or the other for the game. You don't get to have both. So you have to kind of decide what you want. Obviously, there are some that the community sees as naturally better than the other option. So there's probably going to be metas with the perks. Some that are just going to be picked much more over the others. But we can go off of what I have memory-wise for mine. Lucio, my favorite hero, he gets for his minor perks. When he is wall riding, his ammo will slowly recharge. So his ammo will refill while he wall rides. His alternative is his boop, I believe, has a 15 or 30% increased boop distance. And then his major perks, when he is using his overdrive, so his E ability, where he sends out, basically his healing and his speed are increased at a multiple of what they normally are. He fires 50% faster. So it only lasts for about 4 to 5 seconds. But 50% faster of Lucio is very, very fast.
Yes,
I was testing it in the back room. It's very fast. So you can basically make a push into a point or use overdrive during a fight, and you just get that extra damage. It's basically 50% firing faster means 50% more damage output. His alternative perk is just increased overdrive distance. So that distance when he uses his E ability, I believe, is 150% larger. So it can cover pretty much a point at that point. If you're out in the open and you're on a control point, it'll probably cover everything on that point just by pressing one button. And that's Lucio. I don't know if you know any.
I don't know like all of them. I know Anna's. I know some of Anna's. I know that there's one where she can have a bouncing grenade.
Yes.
That's insane. If you don't know what her nade does, it can either anti, so it makes the team not get, and does a little bit of damage, so it makes it so the team cannot get healed, or it can provide healing to her own team. There's also one where she
can actually do both.
It can do both at the same time. Yes. Then there's one where it can she can nano herself, so she can use her ultimate on herself.
Yeah.
There's also one where she can crit.
Yes,
that was really good.
That one is not as big as people think. The damage, her crit damage, only applies to the first tick of damage. She does. It's not the full damage because the way Anna's gun works, it fires. It's pretty much a damage over time sniper.
Yeah, it's like a marksman rifle. Kind of with like
if you hit somebody with it, it will deal damage over time rather than instant damage. So it's more of a tick weapon rather than something that is meant to finish off a kill. It just does it slower.
Yeah.
But her headshot, I believe it's only that first bit of damage with that headshot that actually gets critical hit. So it is more damage. It's probably about 30 more damage than normal, but that damage is not the full. I believe her gun does about 55. Don't quote me, but it's around that range. It's 50. I think it's 50 to 60.
It's around that. Yeah.
I mean, add 30 damage to that. You're doing about 90 at max. So that's a good chunk of damage for a healer.
Yes. Ana is like my most played right now. Like I was a tank player, but I've recently been becoming a bit more of a support player. I know also if we want to cover a tank, I know some of Diva's. I know Diva, when she recalls her mech, it does like a wider spread.
It's 50% bigger.
50% bigger of damage. And then I'm blanking on the other ones.
Diva's is her matrix, defense matrix, the thing that eats abilities and damage. It will give her an overshield. So kind of like Sigma, whenever he uses his gravity like suck in ability, it's like a defense matrix. When he like sucks the bullets up, it gives him an overshield. It's a lot the same for Diva now. If she picks that perk, when she eats damage with her defense matrix, she will get an overshield equivalent to the damage. There's something with her rockets. She has heavy rockets. So she goes from she has fast firing nano rockets that deal a little bit of damage. It's about, I think, also in that 50 to 60 damage range if you hit all of them. It changes to heavy rockets that fire slower and less of them, but end up dealing more damage if you hit them. So it basically it rewards you for precision and consistency.
I know there's also one where I think it's like when she first ejects out of her mech, she gets a little bit of overhealth.
Temporary health.
Overhealth.
Yeah.
Which is pretty useful, honestly, considering like Baby Diva has so little HP, which is kind of how it should be, but useful to help you have a little bit more longevity as Baby Diva when you're trying to get your mech back.
Yeah. Another character I know, Kiriko, who is huge, always in the meta character. She gets one of her perks is her what is it? Her not Kitsune Rush, her teleport.
She can double.
Yeah, she can double teleport. So when she uses her teleport, she has 4 seconds where she can use that teleport again in that amount of time. So she can basically teleport to the team like a frontliner, use something like Suzu is usually what you end up doing when you teleport, and then you can basically look back to your other healers and just teleport right back and be to safety. So you can go from hey, my tank is taking a lot of damage. Teleport in, Suzu on the ground, heal for a bunch, and then teleport back and go right back to safety. For others, she gets whenever she deals damage, her healing is the little paper trails that she sends out. When she deals damage, 2 of those paper trails will be sent out automatically to the closest teammate. So if she is sitting in the back line dealing damage from afar, every hit she gets, she sends out 2 healing to the nearest person. I don't remember the rest of hers.
I don't know either. I want to check what balls are, because ball is my most outward character.
I know some of balls. Wrecking Ball, so he has, I believe, when he is at full speed of his ball form, like when he's in the Wrecking Ball form, I think it will ignite people. So it will ignite people that when he's at full charge. He has to be going full speed.
Yeah.
When his ball is on fire.
You can tell.
If you hit people with the ball, they'll ignite. Very similar to Ash's Dynamite.
Yeah.
Another one of his is, it's like Super Slam. So ball, when he's in the air, has an ability to go into the Wrecking Ball and slam straight down, dealing damage and knocking people into the air.
That's muscle memory for me.
Now he can charge it. And it will deal a significant amount more damage and send them higher into the air.
Yeah.
He also gets... I don't remember. I can't remember the rest of it.
I don't know. I gotta check Sigmas and balls, because like those are my main 2 tanks. I played a lot of played on the ball, and then I gotta check Anna's.
The one I know about Sigma is Sigma has his rock is now the distance it travels, it will knock them down for an additional 3 seconds, up to a maximum of 3 seconds. So at max distance, they'll be knocked down for 3 and I think a half seconds. And it will calculate based on distance. So it's basically just more CC stun time. And his rock is already...
his rock is so good.
It's incredibly good. If you're in the face of a squishy and you send the rock on the floor, everybody can focus them for even that split second they're on the floor. And now extend that to even longer. That's going to be a real strong rock. I know a lot of Orissas. Orissa, the 4-legged tank. She gets, whenever she goes, whenever she uses her javelin, she can now also charge that. And her javelin will deal significant more damage. It obviously is charged, so people are going to be able to see it coming, because they're basically just going to see her go, oh, and throw it real slow.
Yeah.
So that's one of hers. A second one is, back in Overwatch 1, Orissa used to have a shield. Now she gets that back. It replaces her javelin, so she doesn't have that anymore, but her shield is back. I believe it has about 600 health, so it's a good chunk of shield. It's only there on a timer, so it's not like the old Overwatch where that shield was just there until it died. The shield is now on a timer for how long it stays up, so it's much closer to something like a Sigma shield, where he sends it out and then kind of forgets about it and then recalls it when it's on it. So it's on a pretty short timer. But she can use that shield much like she did in Overwatch. What else? Sombra. I know a little bit about Sombra. Sombra can now hack her teammates and give them health. So it's about 100 health every hack.
Turn Sombra into a healer. It's my worst nightmare.
There's actually a lot of people who got turned. Let's see. Oh, okay, well, we'll skip that for another stream, but we are going to start with Li Jiang Tower, so not a bad start. We love to see some Li Jiang, or Li Jiang, however you decide to pronounce it. What comps do you think we're going to see?
Well, one thing about this new meta that I like is we are seeing a lot broader comps. I know last time I saw them play on this map, I know that Droid ran Mauga a little bit. Heavy Brawl comp there, so obviously centering around Mauga. One thing with the Mauga comps, though, is that once that Mauga dies, you're so vulnerable, because like you got to keep Mauga alive. So I expect some Brawl on this. Maybe Junker Queen. I know Droid really likes Junker Queen. I probably going to see the same sort of DPS we've been seeing. I bet you we're going to see Torb. We might see Pharah come out from Bordy or just Sojourn, and then of course the same supports.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Pharah can now, one of her perks is she can move during her ult.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
So she can do that now. But yeah, it's definitely an Hello, Alif.
Hello. Hey, Sim Racing Team has a race tonight.
Yes.
Really long race.
It's like 2 hours.
Really? I thought it was longer.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention. I will say, I did remember one of Anna's. Her sleep dart slows enemies when they wake up.
That's Anna's last one.
That's the last one. I remembered it.
But yeah, so definitely expecting to see a few interesting comps here. Healers, Oh, Symmetra. One of her, one of her abilities is her teleport is like 25% longer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you level up Sim, you can have basically the best rollout in the game. You can come out of the spawn. You can come out of the spawn gates. Yeah. With all, you can. I think if you're on something like Nepal. With like a view of the first choke point from spawn, you could probably go from spawn to the choke point.
That's crazy.
If I had to guess, the perks are going to change the game.
But I feel like that is what the game needed. I think the game needed to change because obviously, elephant in the room. Let's talk about the competition, Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
I think it scared Blizzard a little bit. They were like, "Oh, we have."
I mean, I think it's still scaring them. Marvel Rivals
Marvel Rivals is getting bigger and bigger,
real well. It's not shrinking.
Nope, it's not. It's getting bigger. So let's see.
Yeah. But as we wait to get into game here, I guess we can talk a little bit more about perks, at least what I remember, if you come to remember anything as well. Oh, never mind. I'm getting word we're about to go into game, so we'll go ahead and pause that. But here we go. Yeah, so we've got Ball State versus NIU. Droid, Ghost, Bordy, Spencer, and Yakester is our comp for this, and they've got Gooby, Allegro, Austie, Hayes, and Flip Flop. Yeah, but we can go into the comps a little bit. We're seeing that Orisa, we're seeing a Torb and a Genji, as well as a Juno and a Baptiste coming out from Ball State. Flip that around now to Junker Queen. From NIU, we're seeing a pretty average comp in the meta right now. We're seeing that Hazard, Sojourn, Genji, as well as Lucio Kiriko. So, but I think people have. We're gonna
Tech error. Perks are on.
Perks are on. We need to turn perks off. But yeah, getting a little peek at what we're seeing from the comp wise. So I doubt they didn't get to see any of what the enemy team has. So I doubt they'll make any adjustments. They just didn't get to fight at all. But they'll have to go for a quick reset, turn perks off. Yep. But yeah.
I'm not surprised to see Droid on Junker Queen. When we interviewed him earlier this year, I was like, I see that you are. I always talk about, whenever I'm on color, I always just talk about how much I love watching Droid play Junker Queen, because I don't think I rarely see him miss an axe. Yeah. I rarely see him miss a knife. And he said that Junker Queen is probably one of his more favorite characters to play right now. So I'm not surprised to see it, especially on a map with heavy brawl like the first area of Lijiang Tower. As we're back in the game, let's hope that perks are off this time.
Hey, it's daytime now.
It is daytime. I don't know why, but there are two different control thingies in the modes option from Ada, our coach.
Probably don't read chat. Yeah, we're seeing same comps. Nothing has changed. They've got Lucio. Both teams have a Lucio for a quick rollout. I'm assuming Ball State is also going to be using that Juno for the extra added rollout. They're probably going to send that speed ring right out the gate and then save Lucio speed boost for once that runs out. But yeah, Ball State running that Torb is definitely an interesting sight for me. I know we saw that a little bit last week, on Tuesday. That was definitely interesting to me. I am not used to seeing Torb in a comp, but here we go. We're going to go ahead and get in here. We're seeing the quickest rollout from Ball State ever seen. And now we're getting into the first fight.
Getting into the first fight on the first point of Lijiang Tower. We're looking at Droid now, using this angle to his advantage here on this first point. He's kind of playing Junker Queen more like a poke operator right now. We're looking at Bordy sending those darts into the tank of NEU. He's going to focus a little more to the left right now. Looks like the Hazard is going to try to dive, but it gets taken out by Droid with the knife. Bordy tried to go hard on the aggressive there, but gets taken out by Hazard's Boop, and Ghost is also taken out by Aussie. Now Ball State has no DPS, but they have a tank and two supports, and NEU is down a tank and a DPS. Oh! I think that's going to allow Ball State to win this team fight as Yakester gets that nice Boop onto Flip Flop of NIU, and that's going to secure this one for Ball State as they get first cap.
I honestly thought he got a double boop off the map. I think he got Kiriko. He got Kiriko and Genji. I think he got a triple boop off the map. But Genji wall climbed back up. I think we saw Lucio wall ride, and obviously Kiriko did not come back from that without teleport. Yeah, that was an absolutely incredible boop there. Ball State playing a little bit further up. Gonna have to back up as they go into this fight here. We're seeing Torbjorn now. Gonna back up. Torbjorn most likely playing more pokey. He doesn't actually have damage fall off with his gun. So Torbjorn doesn't necessarily need to play up close. He does have a shotgun for closer, or not a shotgun, but he does have a, he has a shotgun for his alt fire. for closer engagements if he needs it. But usually you're going to see Torbjorn played a little bit further back, let his turret kind of do its work. But yeah, a little bit did happen during that fight, but not too much. We saw a few picks and trades go out, but Ball State still has possession of this point. We're going to probably see another team fight here. No switches from NIU yet, and obviously nothing from Ball State as it's been working in their favor. So we'll see what happens as they get into this next team fight.
Yep. Let's see what we can see. We do see NIU having an ult. Ball State has a ton to their name, though. I'm sure that they're going to win this ult fight as the orbit comes out from Ball State, allowing them to get 2 of the NIU team. That's down a tank and down a DPS player. Now, we're going to see them dive the supports, try to get the supports out of here as fast as they possibly can. We're going to see a mini Lucio one-on-one as Yakster's now going to attack the DPS of NIU. He has ult as well. Ball State still has 2 to their name, as well as NIU. Let's see what they can do, but just they don't have the support that they need now. They're all spread out. Droid is going to go onto the Axe, get it onto the Hazard there. Hazard's going to wall off, try to defend. Now we're looking at Ghost making his way back to point on the Torb, back to the perspective of Bordy, manages to escape the rain of the Hazard, straight into the dash, taking him out. We're at overtime now. Allegro's going to ult, get Spencer with the rail. Droid is low on HP. Bordy's going to ult now, taking out Soj. Droid gets Austin. That's point 1 for Ball State.
I don't know if I don't know if they caught that. I don't know if you caught that. Genji ran into the Hazard ult and deflected it into the Kiriko.
That was amazing.
I did not know you could do that.
I didn't know that was possible.
I did not know you could do that. That was a complete shutdown. That was an incredible sight. What a play from Bordy. Well done. I am amazed right now that you can do that. I thought that would just like block it. I didn't know you could look at somebody like a Widow shot and just send the spikes to them and lock them in the ground instead. Wow, okay, Genji is a bit more of a counter to Hazard than I once saw.
Like that just makes Hazard so much worse.
Yeah.
His ult can just be countered by Genji.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into the next point here. All that Ball State needs is one more capture on this objective, and they take game 1 as we now get into this fight.
I'm a little surprised to see Droid on the Hazard. Looked like Ball State's going to go for a little bit more of a heavy dive comp. We're looking at Yakester straight to Bordy, just doing some damage. Yakester manages to take out Austin. Now they're going to focus on the tank. The tank is down now, and NIU is just going to run. They're going to go as far back as they can, but Droid's going to go on the offense, gets flip-flop, and now it's just Hayes left for NIU. Quick team fight in Ball State's favor as they're going to get first cap.
Yeah, that was well played. The Hazard kind of getting locked out of doing too much from this fight, or from these fights that we're having him in. Most of the time, he's trying to play around his Genji and his Lucio, who are trying to stick close to him. But what's happening a lot of the times is they go down really early into the fight, and then the Hazard is just kind of sitting there trying to get as much, ult charge, as much utility out of his life as he can before he ends up falling. And Ball State right now is just pushing NIU back into the spawn, as we see here.
Yeah, NIU lost 3 in that fight, losing the tank. One thing that they're struggling with, NIU's struggling to keep that tank alive right now. As we're looking at Ghost, playing some poke on that Torb. He's going to throw his turret up there, which is a fun thing with Torb to just throw these turrets around. One of his perks in the future is going to be having a sticky turret. As we're looking at Droid using that wall climb, going to try to get a bit more of an advantage on the NIU team. The wall is going to come out to try to push him back. NIU just holding this high ground right now. We're looking at Yakester, going to try to get some poke damage from the back, do some healing. He's going to speed boost in. We do see the rain come out from Droid, getting 2, and that's going to be it for Ball State, winning that team fight there. Yeah. Because now they're just going to force him back.
Yeah. Another 50% early on for Ball State here, and with about 3 ults online, they are definitely in a good spot to defend against NIU. NIU at this point is about to have beat. They're also very close to Kitsune, as well as Sojourn, and slowly enough, probably in the next team fight, we'll see the Hazard ult. And now, as we say that, yeah, here comes some of the ults, and 2 already go down fairly early.
Yep, the rail from Allegro getting Ghost. Asti takes out Bordy, losing that Genji 1v1 there. Droid is extremely low on HP. We do see the Suzu come out, but he is taken out. Not the Suzu, the Kitsu come out. Yakester has beat, and Droid has, Ghost has Torball. Can't remember the name of it, but Ball State gonna fall back, gonna regroup a little bit as they get back to point now.
Yeah, they have beat if they want to decide to go in, although Hayes, their Lucio, also has beat. So if we see one come out, the other is most likely to follow. We see the rain come out from Gooby, their Hazard as well, but it doesn't end up finding anybody, and he falls too. But yeah, these ults, definitely not too much util coming out of them during these fights. We've been seeing a lot of ults being used either a little too early, a little too late, or a little out of position. And that's kind of what we saw with the Rain right there. Just a tiny bit out of position, not necessarily ready for the Hazard to jump around it. Just unexpected util that came out, allowed him to dodge out of the way. And now Ball State, once again, has objective.
All right, getting into what could possibly very much be the final team fight of this game if NIU doesn't take this one. Ball State has beat. Here comes Bordy with his ult now. Gonna see if he can get anyone off with this, but the NIU brings out Beat to try to counter that wall there from the Hazard. We are at overtime now on this point. Hazard's gonna dive onto the back line of NIU. Bordy's gonna dash it now. We do see the Rain come out, allowing them to get flip-flop. Now NIU is down a support and a DPS. Gooby falls, and that's gonna be the end of this team fight, surely in Ball State's favor.
Well done. That's game 1 to Ball State. A quick win for them. Not necessarily too much restraint, too much pushback from NIU. Definitely going to have to change their game up a little bit as we move to the next maps. But yeah, definitely some good work from the Ball State team there. That's what we like to see. Keeping up that rhythm, keeping up that pressure, worked in their favor very well.
I just don't... Some of those ults, you said it really well there. Like that last Hazard ult from NIU was a little weird, kind of out of position. I think it's just not getting the right value out of the ults. I don't know. They're going to have to find something to try to counter that. They didn't switch off Hazard once for the entire map, which is a little weird to see. I know that, especially that first point of Lijiang Tower, I think that is just built for Brawl. I think that you should play Brawl there.
But I mean, Ball State's ults haven't necessarily been the best either.
Yeah, I
saw,
could agree.
when Ball State lost that point, we saw Kitsune Rush come out basically in the last second of the fight when everybody was already dead.
Wasn't the best Kitsune.
Yeah, wasn't the best Kitsune Rush, but Ball State, obviously, the best team currently in the league. But definitely still has some things to learn, some things to improve on. But that's kind of what this is all about: improving, getting better, and finding your place.
Yeah, that is kind of a thing that they're gonna have to do. We did see some decent ults come out. I think like Bordy did get that last ult there and didn't really get anyone with it. But I think that Droid managed to use his ults to decent effect. I think he managed to catch at least one person in his Rain every single time. Managed to actually kill Flip-Flop with the Rain last time. So let's just see if NIU can maybe find something to try to stop Ball State here. Just find a comp. I know that we saw in the last match against NIU that Ball State really struggled against Ramatra randomly. NIU switched to Ramatra, and that was the game that Ball State actually lost the map because they just could not find a counter that Ramatra. They eventually did in the next one and managed to win. So let's just see if NIU can find something to try to throw Ball State off their game.
It's also comfortability in swapping. I know I have a really hard time with just switching in general, keeping up with everything that's always changing with the games, the new heroes. I'm not huge on switching. I'm very much a one-trick, two-trick pony. I love me some Jeff. But when it comes down to these competitive mindsets, you need to be able to do that because these games are so heavy in being able to have the ability to not only switch to the hero that you need to have access to in a moment's notice and know how to play them, but you also need to know counters to other heroes. And a lot of the times you need to be able to be flexible, and not everybody is, but some of those people who are flexible, like the Ball State team, are why they're so high up in the league, is just because they understand the game at such a fundamental level and can be that flexibility that they need to win these games.
Yeah, I have seen like Droid. As a person who was a tank player for many, many years, and still am a little bit, when I play casual, I'll play tank, just not ranked. I always see Droid, I mean, every single tank he switches onto, you can tell that he knows how to play almost perfectly. I mean, we've seen him play Zarya, plays Zarya well, plays Mauga well, plays Ramatra well. I've seen him play Hazard, Queen, Orisa. I've seen him play all these people, and he plays them well. And for NIU, we've only seen Hazard so far. We don't know what we're going to see, but that's the big part with Overwatch. And I think one thing they're trying to change with perks is to try to stop this counter swapping that we've fallen into, where when this person is being played, you literally cannot, like, if you are a Zarya player and you just love Zarya, if they switch to Rein, you're going to struggle a little bit against that Rein. And I think that's something they're going to try to fix with perks to try to discourage people from counter swapping.
Yeah, I mean, because the main thing is you earn perks by playing the character and earning their ults. You earn the ult charge and the perk points at the exact same basically the exact same rate. So when you switch characters, those perks don't follow you. So you have to basically yes, counter swapping is still going to be
It's
there.
gonna happen.
The perks are not going to be, say all, do all. When it comes down to winning games, I still think counter swapping is going to be very important when it comes down to that. But I also think it's very important to understand that these perks are there to try and holster that ability to counter swap, just to tone it back a little bit, so the game isn't all just counter swapping. And so there's also you got to find a balance between the two, and I think that's what they're trying to find.
I think that is what they're trying, because like I know one thing, especially not as good now, like Sombra. Back when Sombra was really good, and I was a wrecking ball player. Every time I get hacked, I can't go into ball form. I can't go to ball, and I'm like, well, I just can't play. I cannot play ball into Sombra. I just can't, because I will get hacked, and I can't use my primary thing. So hopefully they, this is what kind of try to fix that, fix that thing. Like that's one thing I think with Rivals, that Rivals is doing well. I don't think that there is counters, but I don't think they're as prominent.
I think what Rivals is doing is smart in terms of you can still counter swap, but it's closer to a team counter swap, because the bonuses you get are reliant on the characters you pick. So if you decide to counter swap somebody, well, you're also gonna, if you want to keep those bonuses, you're gonna have to have the rest of your team swap around you. And it's not just one person. Like, for example, the tanks can counter swap all day. If you have a Zarya versus a Rein, well, all of a sudden what am I thinking? Sorry. If you have a Zarya versus a Rein, then that Zarya is going to swap. And then whatever the Zarya swaps to, say she swaps to... I'm not necessarily sure what Rein's counter is.
I would say Orisa is a decent Rein counter. You can play Ramatra kind of well in a Rein. And basically anyone who can just... Or like Mauga. Anyone who can just destroy the shield or stop his dashes.
But say, for example, the Zarya goes to Mauga. Well, then that Rein is going to also go to Mauga. And then that's kind of where the game is. Yeah, that's where the game is right now, unfortunately. It's just if you find a Mauga, there's just some unfortunate scenes where the only counter to somebody is their mirror.
Yeah, that's what we were seeing with Hazard for so long.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with something like a Sojourn. Like if somebody has a Sojourn, just play your own Sojourn. But with Rivals, what they're doing differently is that you need to play around your whole team. So if one person decides to counter swap, then you're losing out on those extra abilities that make the game that turn the game more in your favor. But with Overwatch, unfortunately, we're still not seeing that. We're seeing the perk system, which is trying, but the perk system still has its faults. Again, it's not going to be the do all say all. When it comes to winning games, I think they're going to have to do just a tiny bit more to try and work around the counter swapping game, because it's not very fun to always see people just counter swap because you don't get ult charge. I mean, they tried to fix that a little bit with the game, but they can only do so much, like we said. But here we go, going into King's Row on the Christmas version.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody, even though it's February. Going into King's Row. I really enjoy this map, especially that first point. Are we seeing ball from NIU? I'd love to see it. I haven't seen a single ball. Perks again.
Perks again. We're going to have to stop. Oh, no.
No. Not the perks.
All right, well, we're going to have a little bit more time to talk then. But from what I can see from Ball State, Yakester is sitting out this game. So we're going to have both of the flex supports coming into this game.
We're going to see some Ana.
Yeah, Yakester takes a much-needed break from the very heavy, hard-hitting Lucio gameplay.
Lucio. I've been trying to learn Lucio because I've just been trying to play more ranked and be able so if my teammate picks Ana or Kiri, I'm like, well, I don't really want to play. Or especially if my teammate picks Ana and I'm not a good Kiri, I want to try to learn Lucio. But you're a Lucio guy.
Yeah, Lucio has always been kind of. Oh, never mind. I'll hold that thought. But here we go. We're going back into the snowy version of King's Row. We're gonna go ahead and see the rosters in a few seconds here. I know from Ball State we saw, I believe, in Ana Zen as their supports. We saw a Ball from NIU. But let's see here. What are the rest? We have from Ball State, Droid playing Hazard, Ghost on Ashe, 40 on Genji, Spencer and Alphabet on Zenyatta and Ana respectively. From NIU, we have Zero on Ramatra. We have Allegro on Sojourn. We have a why am I blanking?
Venture.
Thank you. We have Flashimoto on Venture, Hayes on Lucio, Flip-Flop on Lifeweaver, which is an interesting, and now we see Droid climbing a building.
Droid's having the time of his life out there. I would be surprised. I feel like the Lifeweaver might be a troll pick. They're going to go for Widow, trying to get some early picks off. Yep, I was right there. Going to switch to Kiri. Lifeweaver is just not good.
Yeah.
So let's see what can happen here. Staying as Ramatra, I'm not surprised. I think they're going to try to play heavy poke in this first point as we see a nice nade off from Ghost. He's just going to hold this high ground here, try to get some early picks, try to get some early big damage. Going to use this sort of corridor that he's got to his advantage. Get another nice nade, just doing a lot of chip. We're looking at Droid now, placing that wall, going to use that block, try to negate that damage. Just kind of using this corner, trying to play around the angles as Zero gets slept by Alphabet. Alphabet, though, does get taken out by the Widow. That is what the Widow wants to do, and that's going to put Ball State at the disadvantage here. They're down to support. Ghost has pushed up now. He's going to try to get this damage in as Zero activates big guy mode, as I like to call it. He's just going to hold this angle. He's taking a ton of damage. He's going to use that shotgun, get some damage back up, and he's going to re-engage now that he is back at full health. Plazimoto takes out Bordy, but they do get to trade, I believe, onto someone. I kind of missed who that was there.
Genji.
And it looks like, yeah, onto Genji, and it looks like Ball State has managed to push back NIU a little bit.
Yeah, Ball State has been playing off of point a fair amount. They've been giving a lot of space to NIU to try and push up, but NIU hasn't necessarily been taking too much of the point. They are starting to do that now, but Ball State's comp right now doesn't really allow for too much point control. They're basically just focusing on keeping Droid alive and allowing the Genji to get in there with the hazard, while the rest of Ball State's team does that pick damage we see in the background, and we see Ramatra unfortunately fall to the sleep dart. Yeah, Ball State's kind of playing these, keep them aggroed onto the Genji and the Hazard, keep the Hazard and Genji alive while the Ashe does this pick damage from the background. And now we're seeing that Widow has swapped off onto Sojourn. Spencer with a nice kill onto Flip-Flop there on Kiri. But they have been playing this very well. They've been playing a little bit interesting, like I said, when they're not holding down point. They're kind of just giving them space and allowing them to work with it. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to see where this is going to go.
We see that Ball State also has 4 ults now. Bordy is close to getting his as well. They do have the Kitsu ult. Here comes the rain from Droid. He manages to get the tank. I don't think he's going to get a kill with that one. I lied. Great anti there from Alphabet to allow them to get the kill onto the tank. Ghost is going to go on the aggressive now, using that shotgun of Ashe to get that high ground boop. Nice nade onto Allegro there, and they're just kind of going to back up here. They're going to push NIU as far back as they can, and they have won this team fight, but it's a quick respawn. NIU is already almost back into it, and Ball State still has 3 ults. NIU does still have 2 support ults, so they're probably going to have to use those because they need to get this point.
Yeah, definitely working towards getting the point a lot sooner than they would hope. This clock is running down, not in their favor. But we see, once again, they're trying to just giving a little bit of space. Droid does end up getting 1. We see the Nano Blade comes out, gets 1 as well. And here comes the Nemesis form from PK0. Just going to try and hold this point, but there's not much to really push off of it with other than just the Genji. But Bob does come out to try and limit as much as they can, and the rest of them are going to fall. Ball State has been, again, giving them a lot of room in these team fights. And right now, NIU has gotten a tick onto the objective. So we're seeing a little bit of a contest onto this point. If Ball State does end up holding this for that last 30 seconds that are on the clock now, they're going to have to capture a little bit extra of the point just to try and hold it for that win.
Hazard's got a lot on his player now. We are going to see Spencer ult. That means that the Ball State team is currently invisible. Droid gets a nice pick onto Flip-Flop as the Kitsu comes out. Bordy gets onto Hayes. That means NIU has no supports. Their tank's going to fall. It's just Allegro now. They have absolutely no time left. It looks like that NIU is not even going to get a chance to push the objective as it's going to go to Ball State.
Yeah, we did see, that oh, that's unfortunate. We saw the NIU try to make that last desperate push with Kitsune and with Beat, but just unfortunate for NIU. not Bordy, Droid came out of nowhere, shut down Kitsune right as it started, and at that point it was literally just PK0 on point with Lucio playing a little bit of pick damage in the background there. But now Ball State doesn't need to capture all too much. I believe they need to go to a third and a little bit over because NIU got a little bit of tick at the very last second. Once again, Ball State isn't actually playing on point during that. And it's interesting to see because they actually had a Hazard. So Hazard definitely not the worst character and hero to hold an objective with. There's no shield, but playing it off angle is definitely interesting to see, allowing them to get onto that point. But it did end up working in their favor, so they knew what they were doing in that situation. And as we get back into the rosters here, we'll see what ends up getting switched.
What kind of surprises me is to see PK stay on that ramp pick. I thought maybe as we look at this nice coffee cup here, amazing observing by the back room.
It looks empty.
I'm a bit surprised to see PK on ramp. I thought maybe we were going to see like Sigma, something, because their only hope is to hold Ball State here. They have to hold Ball State. They can't even let them get a tick. So I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen much of a lineup change. Ball State going on to the Zarya. I think that is an amazing pick. They're just going to try to push through here.
Boing, boing,
Droid
boing.
Bouncing around now. He's going to go heavy onto the attack, onto the Droid. Ghost also taking to the air with that shotgun. He's going to hold this high ground here. Going to try to get a pick. We see Bordy on May. Kind of a really annoying hero to play against, in my opinion. Great wall there. Going to try to single off the tank, but they do have that other angle. The nade comes out from Ghost. Doesn't really get anyone with it. Not the best nade I've ever seen. And now Bordy's just going to do so much damage with those May headshots, trying to slow and freeze the NIU team. And he gets a nice pick onto PK there, and that's going to be the go call for Ball State. They're going to go all in. Venture's going to try to dig and get some damage, but he's antied. He falls, and Ball State is going to try to capture a point now, which would win them the game. What an interesting thing for I've never seen someone play Zarya like this.
Make the jump. Come on, boy.
You can do it. You can do it, Droid. As now they are contested. Nice anti there from Allegro. Alphabet's just going to take him out. Flip-flops back on point, and there it is. Ball State's going to get past that necessary one and take it.
Yeah. Well played from Ball State. They just... I think the Ramatra was playing a little bit too far up.
Yeah.
Was basically hoping, I can get through this, I can hold this choke, but Ball State had too much forward momentum for him to hold back against, because unfortunately the only other people or other DPS on his team were Venture, who isn't really the best at holding a choke, who is, Venture's more of a backliner.
Yeah.
And then they had Sojourn, who is also not great at holding a choke, again, something more of an off angle DPS. Their supports weren't necessarily there to do much other than support the tank, and it just kind of fell from there with the May wall blocking off the Ramatra, the Ash Dynamite getting all that tick damage, and the Zarya basically full charge in your face.
Yeah.
There's not too much you can do even with Nemesis form and blocking.
See, I really thought that I was gonna I would have played Sigma if I was NIU. I mean, I love playing Sigma on that map, but I just think Sigma, I feel like you have to play poke there because you just want to hold them. I feel like you just want to play poke to hold them. You can use the rocks, just rock the tank, and everyone's going to focus the tank, use the wall. I think Sigma has a better shield than Ram. I just think that he might have been the better choice. I mean, obviously, benefit of hindsight, we don't even know. Could have just been terrible. But, I mean, that's one of my favorite maps to play Sigma on, so that's what my personal
I mean, you also have the counter to Zarya. If they would have known that they were playing Zarya, you could have had a Rhine.
Could have had a Rhine.
Yeah, something like that. Keeping with the pattern here, Ball State could go for the 3-0, locking in that 7-0 victory. We are going to go to a flashpoint map, going to Suravasa, which is, there's only two. There's New Junk City, Suravasa. So you don't have very many choices, but when it comes down to Suravasa, you do have a little bit more open space compared to New Junk City. New Junk City has a lot of choke points. Suravasa has a lot of open space, like we're seeing in this. And the boat, there's a boat.
There's a nice boat.
It's a.
Look at this view.
Yeah, it's a very nice city. But Suravasa, like I said, a lot more open. The points, like I said, right here, very open. A lot of high ground to jump from, to and from. The third point as well, also something very close to. Nope, that's a spawn point.
That's a spawn.
But if we do end up showing that third not spawn point, that third objective site, we'll see that it's also very similar open there. You can see it there on the left. It's just a very big open room. So I'm expecting a hazard here. Just a lot of places to jump around. If I had to guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see the comps when we get into game. Hopefully perks will be turned off. And we'll.
Yeah. Make sure perks are off this time.
Yeah.
See if we can get the three-peat of having perks on at the start of the game.
Yeah. Ball State goes 3-0, and Ball State has perks turned on 3 times.
Ball State has perks turned on 3 times in a row. I'll say Suravasa is like a Flashpoint in general is an interesting game mode to me because the points, once they're captured, that percentage ticks up so fast, and like there's just constant pressure of like, I have to get this point, I have to get this point.
Well, it ticks up more with the more people that are on the point. So it's kind of like Escort, where if you have 3 people on the cart, it will boot. It will go. I hear Carlos yelling. It will go faster. But it's the same thing with Flashpoint. The more people on it, the faster it will capture. But we'll go ahead and see the comps very, very shortly, I hope. Any parting words before we say goodbye to the audience as we go into Game 3?
Stick around. watch Suravasa.
Yes,
I know
here we go.
This was the map that Ball State fell to NIU on. So we never know, and it was to Ramatra, but it seems that they have figured out very much how to counter Ramatra. This is actually a very similar comp to what they ran at Suravasa last time. One thing is different is the Ashe. We're seeing a lot of Ashe right now from Ghost as they're going to make their way to point so fast with the Lucio as they get to this point 1. He's taking the front line, just going to try and get some damage. He's going to back out there as Sojourn's ability comes out. He's going to take this high ground, just hold this nice point, trying to get some nice damage. Bordy's going to join up there, trying to get some damage onto this back line as Droid handles the tank up there. Going to take a ton of damage from the Sojourn. He's going to fall back, but he's just going to stay back, attacking this back line here, trying to see what he can do. And he's going to use the wall climbs to try to get out. Droid's going to hold this low ground onto the tank, use the spin to push up, gets the javelin to push someone back. The shield not in the best position for him. He's taking a lot of damage, going to use the reinforce, just trying to get hammer damage down. Nice jab to push the Ramatra back. And we're going to see Ghost now holding this back line, just trying to get some picks, seeing if he can take anyone out. Seeing what he can do here. His dynamite has recharged. The Venture is going to try to push up on him. He's going to use this wall, just use his the map to stay alive as the Ram ability comes out again. The Fortify from Droid here, just kind of try to maybe take out the tank of NEU, see what he can do as the percentage is ticking up in Ball State's favor. Venture's going to try to dig down as we see the first ult coming out from Spencer and from NIU. The dual Kitsu ults basically going to almost cancel each other out. See what Ghost can do. See if he can get that pick onto the Venture. He does so, and now everyone is going to fall for NEU, and they're going to have to work fast if they want to get this point back.
Yeah. Ball State played that really well. They got the point really early on, and then the rest of that team fight, it was just ticking up in their favor. So I'm not sure if NIU is going to be able to get back here in time to try and contest this point. They may just go ahead and decide, hey, we're going to go to the next point, which it looks like that's what they're doing, yeah. So they're just going to give Ball State this first one, not going to try and contest it. They're going to try to slow down Ball State's ultimate charge, but while they do so, they're also going to slow down their own ult charge. So they're kind of just going to go into this next fight. Ball State does have the ult advantage with one more than NIU, but another one is on the way in terms of Venture. But out comes Bob, and out comes the slam from Orisa. Does get one as she ends up, falling 2 in the end there, and Bob ends up picking 1 onto the tank. But that next point, it will unlock here in 10 seconds, and Ball State, once again, going to have early possession of it to tick that up in their favor. So we'll definitely see what happens here. This Orisa from Droid has been being played very well. Long living as well has been a really good way to describe it, just using the abilities in perfect tandem with one another.
All right, now we're looking at Ghost. Gonna, again, hold this kind of back line, just try to get these picks. The shield's gonna come out from Racha. He's gonna throw the dynamite. The beat comes out from Yakester. Ball State's gonna wanna make this a quick team fight with that. The beat also comes out from NIU as well. Looks like Bordy low on HP, gonna try to run away as Yakester's holding this angle, gonna try to get some damage, boops them away. Bordy does fall. Droid manages to pick off the Venture, and now he's gonna go all in on the attack. Using this kind of poke angle, he's going to attack the Ramatra. Now he's going to kind of dive the Kiriko as they teleport away. Gets the Javelin there. Just kind of holding out on this point. They're going to let NIU have it. I think they're going to try to regroup here. Going to attack the Lucio, try to get the pick. Doesn't manage to do so. NIU has won this team fight, sort of. Ball State is alive. They're just kind of regrouping right now, trying to get their DPS back. And now they have 4 of them back. We do hear the Kitsu come out from Spencer now. The Rampage comes out from Ramatra, but he's already low on HP.
Oh.
They're going to push him off the map there. That was what a counter to the all. Just push him right off the map. Nice jabs from Droid. They're going to take this point back, and that's a win for Ball State.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's a win.
Not a win. A team fight win is what I meant to say.
But yeah, so that was well played from Marissa there. She kind of threw the Ramatra towards the rest of her team. So that was definitely a little bit of a mishap because the closer Ramatra is, while they're standing in that ult, the longer his ult lasts. So definitely a mishap when it comes to throwing him into the enemy team. But throwing him off the map, now that's something I can get behind.
Yes, I can very much get behind that. We do see the ult come out from Droid. Doesn't really get anything with it, but it's going to push NIU back. They're just going to let Ball State have this again. Now Ball State only needs to cap 1 more point to get the win here. That was a super short-lived team fight. They're going to make their way to the next point, and let's see what happens there.
Yeah, so we're seeing them just kind of rotate over at this point. NIU definitely needs to change it up. We haven't seen any swaps from them this game so far. Not sure if we're going to see any as we go into the final objective point. So we're just going to wait for that to unlock. We're going to see what NIU decides to do here, if they decide to try and lock it in a little bit more to try and pull up against Ball State as much as they can. But now we see a lot of Ball State actually going for more of that flank. Kitsune Rush comes out a tiny bit early, in my opinion, throwing it on that high ground. I think they were expecting to see a lot more of Ball State's members than actually showed up. But unfortunately, that Kitsune Rush not going to get any value whatsoever.
Yeah, not going to get any value. Plus, I think that if they were going to use the Kitsune Rush, they should have just used the Venture ult. They still have it, and now Ball State's going to get this first cap. They're going to push NIU back as far as they can. Bordy's going to go on a bit of a flank, manage to take out one, takes out another, and that's first cap for Ball State. I think that they should have just used the Venture ult there. Now their best bet is to try to use the Venture ult with the Lucio ult and just see if they can get the point back. Allegra almost has ult as well.
Yeah. I mean, what you need to do with these ults is saving them for the right moment is not necessarily always what you want to do. You don't want to aim for getting like these huge plays with your ult, getting 1, 2, 3, 4 with one ult. You don't want to aim for that always, because what you're going to do is you're going to find those situations are really far, or far and far between. So when it comes down to expecting to see that, it's just not going to come as often as you would expect. So holding on to them just doesn't really work. And wow, Lucio swings fast with Kitsune Rush. Oh my goodness.
What an ult from Bordy there. Casual 3K as we're talking about. Maybe it's not always what you want to do to try to get these best plays with your ult. Gets the 3K. We did see the Venture ult come out there, but got no value from it. My question was, where was the beats? Did he die? I didn't notice, but I feel like we should have beat there to counter that ult there. But now they're already almost at 99% in Ball State's favor as we get into the other team fight. There comes the beat from NIU. They're going to try to capture a point here. They have one on it. Does Ball State notice? I think they do. As we reach to overtime, 99% 2-0. Gets the jab. 3 are already down on NIU. Now it's just the tank left. They're going to laser all their damage into them as the overtime clock ticks to 0. GG's NIU. It's Ball State 3-0.
Well played, well played. To finish my train of thought when it comes to ults, I would personally just say try to use them, aim for value, but don't aim to wipe the team. You need to hold value in your ult, and you need to use it, but you're not going to get as much value out of it as you just hold it forever and forever and forever. Because what you could be doing is using that ult, maybe get 1 or 2 kills with it, and then you start charging it back up again, and you'll get more and more value. But what that Venture did was just hold on to that ult for basically the whole game. Yeah, the whole game. And you didn't really see much use or utility out of it or any value at all, because once it was finally used, it was used in a moment of desperation, basically, where it was down to the wire, and you should have seen that used so much sooner to have more and more value come out of it. But GG's to NIU. Definitely some places that need to be improved, but Ball State definitely in that same boat. Nobody is perfect. Just continue to grind, continue to get better. That's all I can say for anybody ever. I don't know if we're going to get an interview today. I think we will. I'm not sure who with.
I do see Carlos holding the mic back there. I'll give it, while we're waiting for that interview, I'll give my own 2 cents on ults. I noticed that, especially with playing Ana, I fall into that pattern where I'll just hold my nano for so long. Like, oh, well, one of my teammates will have ult. That's not what you want to do, because then by the time, like, just use it. In a team fight, just nano your DPS or nano your tank. Even if they don't have ult, just give them that damage boost, and then by the next team fight, hopefully you'll have it back, and then they'll have their ult as well. It's better to just use it. Get the value. Obviously, don't just use it willy-nilly and get nothing out of it, but you just want to use it. Try to get at least a kill, even if you don't get a kill, like with Torb ult. Torb just, basically area denial. He can section off an entire part of the map, and that is just something that you don't always have to try to get a kill. We are going to be interviewing Bordy today. So, yeah.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome.
How's it going?
Very good. That was a very good sweep. Well done. I'm going to do this because I haven't gotten it from Lucas yet. I don't know if Lucas DM'd you about perks.
He did.
Okay. Then I will hold my question, save that for later.
Okay.
But yeah, my main question to you is when you're playing around the team, especially as Genji, what angles are you looking for? What are you looking for? Like, for example, when you were playing, I believe it was second map. It was
Kings Row.
Yeah,
Kings Row.
Thank you.
Row, yes.
When you were on Kings Row, and you had the Hazard, it was basically you and the Hazard on the front lines, and then you had the Ana and the Zen in the back with the Ashe playing pick damage. What angles are you trying to aim for when it comes to playing that kind of forward? Instead of going for something more like what the Ashe was doing with like an off angle, playing more forward.
Yeah. So it kind of depends because like on Kings in specific, we had Zen Ana, where like if you saw in like Suravasa, I was playing like on the first point, for example, I was playing that like high ground a lot with because I have my Lucio with me. With the Zen, I have to play a lot more of like a shallow angle because like if I was on Tracer, I have a lot of survivability, the blinks, recall, obviously. With Genji, you just don't really have that. You either like you commit and get a kill and get out, or you commit and kind of die. And so I'm playing a lot of those, like, my angle is a lot more shallow. I'm kind of playing to brawl with my Hazard, especially because they were on the ram. I want to help shoot at the Hazard a lot. And then, obviously, there were times where I did kind of just die. And that was almost, like, intentional because I commit. They are forced to use, like, cooldowns on me. And it's at a point in the fight where if they use those cooldowns, then my Hazard just gets to clean up for free, which happened. So that's usually what I'm looking for on like those double flex support maps, but it's a bit different with Suravasa, like with the Lucy on my angle with me. So
yeah, and something about Kiriko. I didn't know you swung faster with Genji ult with Kiriko.
Oh yeah,
Kitsune. I didn't know that was
good.
that. Yeah, I didn't know it was that fast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what questions? Do you have?
I guess we kind of touched on it a little bit talking about alts. How do you determine when it is the best time to use your alt?
So a lot of that is Droid or Jack. He fight plans for us, which means basically he's determining like what ults we're using, when we're using them, that kind of stuff. But also, there is still like autonomy to be had. So there's times where if we're saying like we're gonna use Blade when they walk into this area, I'll still be like I'll be the one to give my countdown for my Blade. I'm gonna pull it when I see where they're where I want them to be. So what I'll look for is like if they use like amp to try and engage to get into space, I'll try and use it then, things like that. But generally, it's like there's kind of just like kill boxes around the map that are pretty distinct. So
okay, that was just a good. Yeah. Just wondering.
When it comes to team comps, what makes your decision when you go into a game? Are you because we were talking about switching like what was the exact definition? Counter swapping. Yeah. Do you do a lot of counter swapping, or do you just kind of go in and play around? Like, do you play more a comp with your team, or do you aim to counter swap to try and pick off those like weaknesses?
So it's actually pretty unique for me in specific. Tank obviously is very susceptible to getting switched on. That's something that Overwatch 2 has had a lot. But with this team in specific, I do a lot of switching. Like you guys probably saw in Northeastern, like I was playing whatever I felt like practically. Like I was on Pharah, Tracer, Genji, and a lot of that is I'm really comfortable on all those heroes, and then also those heroes offer a lot of different things that I think I find value with for the team. And so if there are times where it's like, if I'm like negative on a hero, whatever, it's just not going well, I'm not finding the value I'm looking for, I'll be like, guys, what do we think if I switch to Pharah here? And a lot of the time they're like, okay, and they trust my judgment on that because it's my role and I'm playing like my purpose basically is just find value to help my team pretty much. It doesn't matter if I don't necessarily get in like a final blow, but I need to find that value to help my team. And so playing like if I'm swapping to like a Pharah, then usually I'm trying to look to poke like a Hazard or a Ram a bit more. And so they really just trust my judgment on like when I want to swap. So that usually works out really well for us.
Yeah. Anything else from you?
One last question. How many hours do you have in Overwatch?
On Overwatch?
Or like Overwatch in general, I guess. You could say just Overwatch 2 if you want, or you could say both.
So I've been playing Overwatch since I was in like 5th grade.
Yeah. So yep, you got a while then.
I've spent more time alive with Overwatch than without.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So recently my main account broke 2,000 hours.
Okay.
I think the last time I looked it was like 2004. But then I also play on a lot of other accounts with friends and stuff. So if I had to guess, it's probably somewhere around like 2,500 total hours-ish. And then obviously, I don't know how much that is like just sitting in menus or whatever, but probably around 2,500.
Okay. That's a question I like to ask a lot of the varsity players, how many hours they have on their main
all
game
things
of
considered,
choice.
I really don't have too many hours in the game.
Yeah, that's not...
in like comparison to some people.
Some people have a lot. I know like some of our league players, not going to name drop, have a lot of hours in League of Legends.
I play... I mean, the thing is, like, and it's not even that. It's like hours don't also equivalent to skill.
Oh no,
yeah,
not at all.
Yeah, I have a friend. I play a game called Hunt Showdown. He has almost 365 days played on the game.
Wow.
He's
terrible.
Whatever. He's the mid rank.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm pushing like 400 hours on Siege. I'm terrible at Siege because like 300 of those 400 hours are me trying to play the game like it's Call of Duty. So like,
but the thing is, it's like hours can also equivalent to it can be the other way around. Like less hours can mean skill too. Yeah. Because like I play CS. I've probably played CS for 4 days now, and I have consistently dropped 20 bombs.
Yep.
So it's like it's weird because hours can equal skill if you put in the time in the right places, but hours can also just be you coming with natural skill.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you first started, would you say you had natural skill in Overwatch?
Considering the fact that I was like 12,
not
really.
Yeah,
but then so I played Rocket League before Overwatch, and I was like a round champ in that, almost grand champ. And then when Overwatch 2 came out, I decided that was my game. Yeah. And so I switched to Overwatch 2. I played ranked and I got to GM like top 500 right away pretty much. So it's debatable, but I learned quick.
Yeah, so. I mean there are people who play these games like Rocket League, Overwatch who are like 14 years old and are at the top of their game. So skill is such an interesting concept.
It's weird because like with me, I have zero natural video game ability. I have like to get where I am at like video, and I'm not even good. I wouldn't call myself good at video games, but I've had to work like really hard to learn how to play video games.
Okay, well, I'm out of questions.
Me too. I don't got anything else. Thank you so much for the interview. I'll take that mic from you. Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you all for coming out. That has been almost all of this week's streams. We do have League on Saturday coming right at you. That will be a good one. I'm not necessarily sure who it's against.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I think that's a better question for the back room, who are probably screaming in our ears in 2 seconds. But thank you all for coming out. We appreciate your support. Shameless plug. Please check out our TikTok and Instagram. It's getting there. We have tons of little skits that are planned out for you. We love to see your we love to see your support everywhere you show it. But thank you all for coming out today. It has been a pleasure, and we will see you on Saturday.
Overwatch!
Overwatch! Yeah!